Yep.
We're live. All right. Let me see.
That's what they tell me.
That's what they say. Okay, here we go. Oh, I see it. All right. So
Same.
now, Dave Hamilton. So let me see on my profile. There it is. Watch me and Dave Hamilton. Oh, yeah, that's great. Okay, so I'm going to thank you. Join us on Business Brain. Oh, Brain today as we discuss luxury and desire, plus an interview with Scott Jordan. O-N or A-N?
A-N.
A-N.
Yeah.
From Scott E.
Scott.
And an E is capital, E-Vest. It doesn't matter. Scott E-Vest. Oh, thank you to Shopify for sponsoring this this episode.
Actually, it's this week.
Oh,
All right, this is bad
that's
that
right.
my sound is doing what it's doing.
It's like crackling now.
Yeah, I'm not into that. Huh. Give me a second here.
Yeah.
I'm going to see what I can do with my... does that sound better for you?
It does sound better for me.
Okay. Huh. I wish I understood what was going on here.
Oh.
Does that change anything?
You still sound good. I don't hear the crackling.
Okay. All right. Well,
Sounds
we will I have an idea as to what I can do in real time if that were to happen again.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
All right,
sure.
All right. Sure. I have confidence in you because I'm not doing it.
I know, but
And a little crackling is okay. Nobody's
yeah, but like where it got to was no bueno.
Oh yeah, it did start to get a little worse. So.
Yeah.
Okay, should we start?
Let's rock and roll. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Let's see, banners. We got a comment. The crackling went away there too. Thank you, Mark Bull.
I just heard it again though.
Did you hear it crackle or did you just hear it?
The crack,
it dropped out.
The metronome.
Yeah.
Deep, deep, deep. Yeah. Interesting.
That's not good. All right. You talk to them. I will be back.
All right.
That's how
Thanks
this is going to be.
Joining the live stream. We'll give you a little preview of the topics. First, thanks to Shopify for sponsoring Business Brain this week. I love those guys. They help. I think that Shopify is just an awesome service. And so today we're going to talk about luxury and desire and emotion and trying to fit that into your business no matter what you sell, product or service. We're going to talk about that. Dave is going to give us a recap of his trip out to the Consumer Electronics Show, which I'm sure there's lots of things that I desire, luxury or not. And then after that, we're going to get joined by Scott Jordan from Scott E. Vest, which is an awesome company that makes amazing clothing to carry all your electronic gear. They're completely badass. And Scott's going to come on and talk about his journey. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And I enjoy watching people roll in. We got about 136 on the stream right now. It should be interesting. I've got a post up on X that is pushing about 1.5 million. It's at 1.4 million. So we'll see if the stream gets a little higher this week. I don't know what that'll be. We'll see. But, and so we've got folks all over the place. So that's great. Dave is doing a sound check because he had some crackling, some kind of snap, crackle, and pop going on. And that drives him crazy because he's the sound guy on the show. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it once we get going here. We started live streaming on X, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube probably maybe 6 months ago, 7 or 8 months ago. And it's increased the downloads of the Business Brain podcast by about 20%. Yeah, so it's done great. We've been able to connect with you. If you want to comment, you have to click into the live stream, and then there's a spot that says comment. You can click in there, and we'll see your comments while we record the show, which would be great. And what else have we got going on here today? Yeah, I'll tell you the post that's going crazy on my X account right now. It's just a picture, and it's a picture like a billboard on the side of a. If I really knew what I was doing, I could show it to you, but I don't know how to do it here because I'm not the tech guy. But it says, "Don't call me lucky. I failed more times than you tried," and I feel.
I think I'm back.
Hey, there's Dave.
Hey,
nice.
Is Dave crackling still?
No, not at all.
Okay,
No, you
that's
sound
a
great.
That's a good sign.
Okay,
Let's just assume it's going to work, and let's rock and roll.
Start. Okay, let's do it.
Here goes everything. Business Brain, episode 614 for Wednesday, January 15th, National Bagel Day, 2025. Greetings, folks, and welcome to Business Brain, the show where we take some ideas, your ideas, our ideas, we crunch them, we use them, we dissect them. They are there to help us analyze and tune our business brains each and every time we get together. Our sponsor for this week is Shopify at shopify.com/businessbrain. That's where you can go to sign up for your $1 per month free trial. Well, $1 per month trial. It's not free. It's a $1 per month trial. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit. For now, back here in Durham, New Hampshire, I'm Dave Hamilton.
And still out here in Lafayette, California, I'm Shannon Jean. Good to have you back, Dave.
It's good to be back. Yeah,
I watched some of your product reviews and stuff up on X. I thought they were terrific, and there was a lot of stuff that I liked. Tell us about how was the show?
It was great. You know, CES. It's when we go out there. The primary show that I go there for content wise is Mac Geek Gab, right? Because it's all the tech stuff and everything, which is great. And it is our job to sift through the noise and find the gems and tell our audience about them, right?
Nice.
It's because if we told everybody about everything we saw at CES,
it's just too much, right?
I don't think, even if all you wanted to do was walk the show floor, I don't think the show floors are open long enough for you to do that. Oh. So you have, because they're in 6 different places and they're all over the place.
Everybody should, if you get a chance to go to the Consumer Electronics Show once, doesn't matter what your field is, you should go because it's mind blowing.
It is
and exhausting, but I love that kind of stuff. I tell you, I have my favorite product that you talked about.
Okay,
which was that backpack that Targus, that really nice little that thing. I mean, I love it. It just looked very crazy, overbuilt, and all the features, and I think that thing was great. I loved your breakdown on that.
Thanks.
Pricey. I mean, it was a higher
Wait
end.
till you see the one from another company that's coming.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's embargoed, so I can't talk about it yet. But like, yes, $200 to $300 computer backpacks are the norm now.
Yeah,
if you
I
want
guess so.
something that's going to last and do all the things that you wanted to do. So,
It's nice. I love backpacks.
Our job for CES starts about a month and a half before we leave for the show.
Okay.
Filtering through all of the press releases and announcements and everything, and reaching out to people we know and finding what we're going to do and coming up with a plan of attack. Now, I always say, if I don't have my schedule for CES built by December 15th, I am doomed. Yeah. And that's true. Because by that point, people start to disappear for the holidays and all those things.
Sure. Yep.
But I also know that once I get on the ground, my schedule is there unless inspiration otherwise strikes, right? Because there are things I don't know about until I get there.
Sure.
And then it's like,
makes sense.
Oh, well, this is better than that. So I'm going to have to, you make it. I think I said to somebody during the week, I'm like, this week is a series of Sophie's choices, right? You're never going to be able to do everything you want to do. You're not going to see everything you want to see. And the one thing you really wanted to see is probably not going to happen, but the thing that you didn't even know was coming is going to surprise you, and it's going to be great. And I guess in part because I've done it so many times and keep refining our technique. And when I say refining our technique, I mean making mistakes and then trying not to make the same mistakes again the next year, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
It was really smooth this time. Like there were no points where I felt like I had overbooked or underbooked myself. Travel between locations was smooth, but I also plan not to do a lot of that in the same day. I'll say, okay, this
one spot. Yeah.
Exactly. This day is going to be in this general spot where I can just walk from thing to thing. And then this other day is going to be over here and I can just relocate myself for the day. And so, yeah, it's
cool.
fine. Yeah.
Did you have a favorite product that really stuck out?
I did. I'm a Mac guy, and I was at the ViewSonic booth. At one of the events, I don't know if they had a booth on the show floor or not, but there's all kinds of different media events. So I was at one of their booths and one of the nights, and I'm talking to this woman that I know. She handles PR for them. I've known her for a decade and a half. And she's, showing me the things. She's like, well, we have this that you already know about and this that you already know about and this that you already know about. I'm like, yeah, okay. So nothing new. Okay, right. She's like, no, not really. And there's another guy there who's like standing behind the table, antsy and like dancing around.
Talk to me.
Yeah, he's like, and he's trying to get her attention without like making it obvious that he's trying to tell her, maybe. And finally, he's like, just both fingers pointing at this one monitor. ViewSonic, for $800 now, has a 27-inch 5K Thunderbolt monitor.
Oh, wow.
From Apple, that's $1,500.
Yeah.
From
without a stand.
Without a stand, correct.
Yeah.
From LG, that's $1,200, or if you can find it used on Amazon, it's $1,000. And this is from ViewSonic. They make great quality stuff. I saw it. It's got a USB hub in it. It's got Thunderbolt daisy chaining, and I realize that to those of you who aren't Mac people, you might not even know what we're talking about, but that's okay because this is a huge deal for Mac folks. And I said to her, I was like, well, way to bury the lead here. Yeah. Like, why didn't you tell me? She's like, I forget, I'm like, okay, like it's fine. Like we're all humans. Like and I obviously found out about it. But for me, that was the shock of the show. I did not expect to see anyone making that. So it was exciting. Yeah.
Nice. That's great. I love it. Yeah. Like I said, if you get a chance to go to that show, you got to plan in advance. We have a couple of episodes where we've talked about ways to get the most out of trade shows. If you just wander around without any planning, you'll just burn yourself out and you'll waste a lot of time. But if you put a little effort into it, who you're going to go see, especially if you're in some related business, make appointments, try to connect with people. It could be a great event.
All right, folks. You know that feeling when you've got a killer business idea and can't sleep because your brain won't stop buzzing? That's the entrepreneur's grind. And of course, I've been there. When I started using our sponsor, Shopify, for merch with two of my businesses, including my Mac Geek Gab podcast, I felt like we just hired the MVP of our team. Shopify makes it ridiculously easy to set up your store, customize it, and start selling. No coding required. And their powerful social media tools connect all your channels so you can sell wherever and whenever your customers are scrolling. Shipping, taxes, payments, Shopify handles it all in one easy dashboard, letting you focus on what you do best, growing your business. If Shopify were a person, I'd give it a corner office and a lifetime supply of coffee because it's just that good at what it does. So why wait? Established in 2025 has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/businessbrain, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/businessbrain to start selling with Shopify today. Shopify.com/businessbrain. And our thanks to Shopify for sponsoring this episode. So last week we promised that we would talk about this topic about introducing emotion and desire in everything we sell.
Yeah. And, I really neglected this concept for years and years. And it wasn't until I started selling luxury goods that hit me that there's so much of this industry that we could co-opt and take into other businesses and try to use them. So I thought it would be worth. I don't have all the answers, but I want to put the opportunity out there if you're listening, in your head about how could you take your business or whatever it is you're selling, whether it's a product, a service, and kind of bring this emotion and desire, let's say, to your customers along the lines. It doesn't matter if it's like a $5,000 handbag or a $500 tool. There's something that desires. So like I said to Dave, I know there's a lot of stuff I saw. There was a funky little pen that tracked you as you wrote at CES, and I was like, oh, I really want that. I know it'll be in a drawer in 6 months, but I really want it. And so I'd love to take a few minutes and just talk about what the key points of this emotion and desire and how to try to bring it into your business.
Sure. Yeah.
And the first part is the thinking about things that add status and prestige. When I was selling handbags, I really didn't understand the importance of someone carrying this bag and how much more confident it made them feel. And in many ways, made them feel important. And they had a different kind of status, and it was prestigious. Even if I was selling a used handbag that had blemishes or something, no one else knew that this person didn't own that product from brand new, right?
It's true. When you buy something, it is used on the second day.
Yes.
So it like the status and prestige that goes along with something, even if you're like you were reselling these things on the used market, it still carries that, and that I can see that applying to other businesses, especially if you, as the business owner or the marketing person at your business, can find a way to apply, to imply status and prestige with your brand, so that people automatically have that association, and therefore people who use your brand are affiliated with your status and prestige, right?
That's exactly right. And I've always made money. I was in the technology business, but it was always trailing technology, right?
Sure. Right. If you're selling refurbs,
stuff, right. And then all this kind of stuff, because it was they got the same power out of it, if you will, and the same feeling and the same utility, but they were saving money. But even I can remember when the first, like the iPhone 4 came out and you couldn't get the white ones. And, we got white case parts and put together white iPhone 4s, and they sold for 25% more than
amazing
a black one, because everybody, and I walked
you wanted white. Yeah.
Because you wanted white. And
well, white was seen as being wanted.
Yeah, because you couldn't get it. It's
right.
It's that exclusivity and rarity. And I noticed this one day. I was walking around the tech museum in San Jose. Took my kids down there, and I had an iPhone 4 with a white case back on it. And I had 2 or 3 people come up to me, and it was just in my back pocket, sticking out, or maybe it was in a holster at that time. I was really stylish in a holster. And
Shannon and every contractor on the planet.
Yes. So I had this thing on the side, and you could see the white. And I had 2 or 3 people come up and say, "Hey, where did you get that white iPhone?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't have any cards or anything, but just go to, I gave them our website, and like, you can buy that back case. We sell them for like $50. You could put it on your own phone." So it was finding a way to bring that exclusivity and rarity at a lower price point, or just even that you could get it. It would be great. And we were making these ourselves, so they didn't have the Apple logo on them, because, we can't reproduce their logo.
Yeah, people don't see that from afar, and most people are willing to overlook that.
Yeah.
That's right.
I think we sold thousands of those white cases. So it is great. And I think also, this stuff is all like, it's aspirational, right? I want this thing. I want this new truck. I want this amazing. I'm sure if you walk onto a job site, there's all kinds of aspirational thing that contractors have, right? Certain kinds of tools, or a tool bag, or a vest, or whatever, right?
Every industry. And every socioeconomic group has them. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that, a lot of that also too brings this kind of validation, social validation. I wear the same boots that these guys wear. I'm
in the club.
Yeah, I'm in the club. So what if you're selling products into, certain channels, which I'm sure you are, or services, how do you identify what is it that are the, these aspirational things that have everybody that validates, when you use them? Because if you show up and you look different, I mean, that's okay, but everybody wants to be part of the team. And figure that stuff out. So another one was when I started selling stuff, I had no idea that exclusivity would, over time, being in the tech space, everything lost value every day, right? Prices constantly going down.
Oh, then you started selling watches.
And the prices were going up.
Yes.
And the same with handbags. I didn't understand it until some people came out and they're like, well, why are you selling it for that price? I was like, well, I don't know. And then somebody said, you can't get that bag for 2 years if you order a brand new. And I was like, oh, I need to raise my price. And so then I learned to target things that you could not get. And so, I always ask business owners, well, what do you sell that's hard to get? What is it that you can hold back? It's kind of like Costco does it too. They sell rare items, even though their whole business is a warehouse full of the same commodity items that we buy by the truckload, by the pallet size. There's always something like, oh, we happen to have these autographed basketballs from the LA Laker Dream Team. And you're like, wait, where? I don't get it. Or they had they sell guitars signed by every member of the Rolling Stones, for like $9,000. Well, what can you have that's up on a pedestal that people are just blown away from, that attracts them in to buy your everyday stuff?
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Right. Because that's what they're doing. They're getting, they get PR out of it. They do stuff.
I see. Okay. So just not even intent. Certainly if somebody wants to buy it, happily you'll sell it to them. But the point is to use it as the shiny thing that brings people.
Hook.
The hook. Yes.
It's the hook. It's like, look, we did an episode called the Whistle, the Workhorse, and the Whale.
Yeah.
And, the Whistle is the product that's a great deal that attracts everybody. The Workhorse is the stuff you sell, you make your money on. It's everyday in and out. And the Whale is like, oh, man, Costco sells this, $50,000 diamond ring, or Costco sells gold bars. What the heck? Right.
Yeah. Right.
So those things, and we'll put that. Yeah.
I'll put a link in the show notes for sure.
The show notes up at businessbrain.show, and you go listen to that. I think that episode is really, I love doing that. So the concept is to think about how can you stand out? How can you, attract people? How do you take advantage of things that are rare and exclusive?
Yep.
And maybe sell things that add prestige. And you can go over the top. Maybe it's some product with a lifetime warranty. I hunt all the time, and there's all these high-end waders that are double and triple the price, but they tell you, hey, this will be the last pair of waders you'll ever buy.
Right.
We'll take care of it. So think about that. How can you adapt that? Doesn't matter if you're a product reseller, landscape contractor, HVAC guy, and come tell us how you think you could adapt these practices to your, let's call it, they're boring businesses. I own them too. So I'm not saying they're in a bad way. It's just everyday businesses, right?
The best kind of businesses are boring.
Yeah.
There's nothing exciting happening. You're not having to put out fires too often, and yet, you're making money. Yeah.
Tell us how you do use these tactics. Feedback at businessbrain.show. We'd love to hear from you. It would be great.
Like he said, feedback at businessbrain.show, folks. Make sure to stay subscribed. If you are subscribed, if you're not subscribed, subscribe to the show and come review us. businessbrain.show/review. And we'll see you on Friday.
See ya.
Sweet. Perfect.
All right. Fantastic. That's good timing.
It was.
I'm going to pull up the information I found.
And Scott's not here yet, which is even better. Is he? Let me look and see.
Take a look at
He is in the prep
sweet.
Document, so the timing will work out great. Yep.
Okay, that's terrific. How do I search? Okay, great. Scott.
If you see him appear, feel free to add him.
Here we go. Scott,
if I'm not looking.
Company overview, yeah. 2000. Man, that's awesome.
Yep.
25 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, for sure.
That's incredible.
Yep.
TV commercials, Dharma's great. Okay, great. Yeah, stick around because we're going to interview Scott Jordan from Scott E. Vest. And if you don't know, go to scottevest.com and take a look at their products. Pretty wild. They're designed to carry all your gear.
Carry gadgets, yeah.
Gadgets and everything. It's just good. And they have, vests, jackets, hoodies, shirts, pants, dresses, underwear, because, you never know. And accessories. It's pretty wild. That's cool. And 25 years in business is amazing.
It is amazing. And quite the evolution of that business.
Yeah,
and that's something we're going to get into with Scott.
Yeah.
Oh, in fact, Scott Jordan, there he is.
How you doing? Sorry, I'm a moment late.
No, your
worries.
timing was perfect. I had some audio issues today, Scott. So it's all good.
Scott, it's a pleasure to meet you. My name's Shannon, Dave's co-host.
Yeah.
Great to see you. Thanks for coming on the show.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm just getting your sound right here. Thank you for wearing earbuds. It makes it so that we don't have to worry about echo cancellation, my friend. I appreciate that. So, yep. Yeah.
Are we live or are we?
We are live, but we're not yet recording the episode yet. So that we live stream. We give people what I like to call the voyeuristic experience of watching some guys record an audio podcast.
I never got it until finally, okay, my kids are like, you gotta turn video on. I'm like, all right, if everybody wants to sit here and watch me in my camouflage sweatshirt talking about business, that's okay. But
do you edit, by the way, the podcast, or not usually?
So great question. The answer is not usually. In fact, I was about to give you my spiel that we are lazy podcasters. That's not actually true, but it is a great way to frame what we're about to do here together, because what we do is we record live to tape. We have a workflow that we've put together that allows us to be very efficient once we get the recording done.
No, the editing is time consuming and
well, and
I'll just self edit then.
Yeah, and you can say whatever you want. I mean, if you wind up, what I do say to people, and I'll say it to you, if you wind up cursing, don't make a big deal out of it. It's no big deal. We can check the box that says there's swear words in here, and everything's fine. It's when somebody curses and then says, wait, am I allowed to curse on this show? And it becomes a topic. It's like, it's not the topic of the show. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just not a big deal. Right. Yeah. So, So I need to do one more little dance here. And then, we do have, so with the lazy podcaster thing, we do have a sponsor. It's Shopify. And we have pre-recorded the ad. And so assuming there is a spot where it seems to make sense for me to drop it in, what I'm going to do is one of us will be talking, and I'm going to put my hand up like this. It doesn't mean stop talking. It means that whenever that person finishes their thought, 10 seconds, 90 seconds, doesn't matter. That is when I'm going to do this. All right, folks. That auto mutes you, rolls the sponsor slot right in. We don't even have to edit that in, and it will unmute you when you get to the end. When we get to the end of it, all is good. Make sense?
Perfect. Yep.
Yeah, it is kind of perfect.
Cool.
I know. Yep. It's great.
Don't say that to Dave.
I'm proud of the workflow that we've built over 20 years.
Yeah, of course. It's awesome, dude. Wouldn't work without it.
Yeah, we wouldn't. You're right.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Oh, I only grabbed half of this. No wonder it seemed all effed up. Okay.
Got it.
That looks better. Okay. Now I'm ready to rock if you're ready to rock, Scott. We've got, okay, cool. We aim to go about 20 minutes or so. Do you have a hard out that we need to be respectful of? Okay. So if it goes a little long, that's okay. All right. Got it. And the only reason it would go long is if we're having fun and, there's something, if you bring up something to talk about. We love stories. Feel free. you are our guest co-host, so take the reins if you want them.
Exactly.
If we feel like it's going completely off the rails, we will rein you back in. It's totally fine. Yep. All right, ready to rock?
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to put this banner up for the intro so that we all know what we're doing here. And you will hear theme music, like I said, lazy podcasters, so it's all going to happen in real time, man. Here we go. Business Brain, episode 615 for Casual Friday, January 17th, National Customer Service Day 2025. Greetings, folks, and welcome to Business Brain, the show by, for, and about small business owners. Here in Durham, New Hampshire, I'm Dave Hamilton.
And out here in Lafayette, California, I'm still Shannon Jean. How's it going, Dave? Happy Friday.
Happy Casual Friday indeed. Shannon, I am so stoked to have someone on the show who's been running at least this one business for, I believe, 25 years. He's been running Scotty Vest along with his wife. Scott Jordan, thank you for coming on the show.
How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It's great to have you here. Yeah. Did I get that right? 25 years with Scotty Vest? Is that right?
I believe it's 24.
Okay.
Still amazing, man.
I think 25 is in December of this year. So
okay.
We've done the show
we're getting close.
Yeah, we've done the show for 10 years, and I think Dave has talked about having you on the show someday for maybe 8 of those years. So it's awesome. Thank you very much.
Well, I mean, you have an interesting story, and it continues to evolve. Like you have not your business, the form of your business, what you do with the business, none of it has stagnated, and I love that. You're always trying new things. How you studied to be an attorney, right? And then got sick of that, or did that lead you to something that was like, I can do better this way? What was that initial path like?
So I was practicing law. I graduated law school in 1992, and I went to work for a very large law firm in Chicago that turned into DLA, which is the largest law firm in the world by far. And I found myself dotting I's and crossing T's and arguing over condemnation provisions in contracts that were never going to see the light of day, and working my ass off. And after doing that for a number of years, I decided that I needed a way out, and I started looking for another job. And what I found is that as a lawyer, you're perceived as a lawyer forever. You can never, you have a scarlet L on your forehead, and you start looking for a job, and they're like, you're a lawyer, and so I went to work in-house counsel first, and it was even worse than a law firm because a variety of reasons. But then I went to work for a startup company, and lo and behold, they hired me as the lawyer. There were 3 of us.
Of course.
And they would only let me do legal stuff. And there's not a lot of legal stuff in a 3-person startup, internet startup. It was called the Next 50 for next 50 years of your life, a portal for seniors. And in doing so, I was commuting. I commuted to Princeton, New Jersey from Chicago 4 days a week. So I had to go travel, many hours and sit in an office doing nothing, and then travel home, for the weekend, and it was miserable. But
for people who don't know, that those are airplane rides. That's just not like short little ride in the car or anything. Yeah.
And I shared an apartment with another guy, and I would just go to work, shut my office door, and start practicing law for other people. To be honest with you, because just sitting there doing nothing. Yeah. I would go into his office and say, I have an idea. Let's get whoever saw the first version of Survivor with Rudy. There was a cantankerous old dude. I said, let's get him as our spokesperson for our show. And I'm in touch, and thought it was an awesome idea. He was the star of the first season, and He's like, listen, lawyer, do your lawyer things. I'm like, there's no lawyer things to do.
Stay in your lane. Yeah.
Yeah, stay in my lane. So
That would have been a
one day,
great idea. Did you get Rudy from
I was in
Survivor?
touch with him. But of course, the
You're,
business guy thought I was a lawyer, and it must be stupid. So,
I think they might have missed out, Scott.
yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
But long story short, my boss, one of the three people went to Ireland for 3 weeks in the summer, and I'm like, I'm not flying to Princeton, New Jersey to show FaceTime. So when he's in Ireland, so I stayed at home, and he found out I was at home and didn't fly back and forth, saving his company a lot of money, and he a big to do. And then I just said, this ain't working out. So I just quit. And but what I did discover is in those travels, I had a number of devices on me. This is year 1999 ish, and big Walkmans and camcorders, and there were cell phones, but there were you had to use a DPC to attach it to your pocket PC to get
I remember that.
connectivity, and
Oh,
yeah,
Yeah.
and then fuel cells to get additional battery, and all the different cords that we had, and
You got
and
those phones required a lot of power. You needed like a nuclear reactor with you. You needed the Enron egg. No.
Yeah. A lot of stuff.
So it was through that experience. I said, there's got to be a better way of carrying all your devices. And I looked at what was on the market and what people were using. Fisherman's vest, travel vest, and big bulky vest, the Banana Republic vest, and put all your stuff in there.
Yeah.
And say, why doesn't someone design that with conduits for the wires and a better looking design with not external pockets but internal pockets? And I came up with the idea of Scotty Vest. And Scotty Vest was initially just a proof of concept because I didn't know anything about apparel, but I filed for a patent for the incorporation of wires in clothing. And I thought if I use Scotty Vest as an exemplar for other companies, showing them what technology-enabled clothing could be as sort of Gore-Tex or Intel inside ingredient branding or YKK for clothing, that I can come in to North Face and show them how to incorporate a pocket design that would allow you to carry your devices and multiple other things, and add the brand technology enabled clothing, TEC.
Yeah. I've seen that on my Scotty Vest stuff, and I knew what it stood for, but now hearing that the evolution was really, this was just sort of the thing as an example, and hopefully somebody else would pick it up. Got it.
Yeah. And I filed for patent. It took many years for the patent to come, and lo and behold, while I was preparing the website, which was a brochure website at the time, remember it's year 2000, and e-commerce was really just starting. I think this was pre-Amazon, if memory serves me, and or maybe simultaneously with Amazon. And my web designer said, do you want me to e-commerce enable that website for you? I was like, what? How much is that going to cost? He said, there's a plug-in and a this and a that, $700. I'm like, I don't know. And they said yes. And it was the very first clothing company to start on the internet 20 years ago.
That might be the best $700 that anyone has ever spent. All right, folks. You know that feeling when you've got a killer business idea and can't sleep because your brain won't stop buzzing? That's the entrepreneur's grind. And of course, I've been there. When I started using our sponsor, Shopify, for merch with two of my businesses, including my Mac Geek Gab podcast, I felt like we just hired the MVP of our team. Shopify makes it ridiculously easy to set up your store, customize it, and start selling. No coding required. And their powerful social media tools connect all your channels so you can sell wherever and whenever your customers are scrolling. Shipping, taxes, payments, Shopify handles it all in one easy dashboard, letting you focus on what you do best, growing your business. If Shopify were a person, I'd give it a corner office and a lifetime supply of coffee because it's just that good at what it does. So, Why wait? Established in 2025 has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/businessbrain, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/businessbrain to start selling with Shopify today. Shopify.com/businessbrain. And our thanks to Shopify for sponsoring this episode. All right, so Shopify didn't exist back then, and you spent $700 to enable e-commerce on your website, and then you started on a path of sustained growth. And we all realize that growth is never a straight line, but you were pushing to grow your business, growing the size of your team, all of those things. Were there ever potential thoughts of taking it public or anything like that?
That's funny. Of course,
Sure.
I think every entrepreneur, when they first start, they think, "Oh, I'm going to just go public and
Yeah.
growth, and and all these concerns of grow or die.
Yes.
You have to innovate, and I could not emphasize enough how stupid all that thinking was."
So before we get into that, and I want to get into that emphasis, but just to show people the arc here, what was the largest, in terms of staff, what was the largest number of employees you had at ScottyVest at the biggest point?
I think we had 21 under this roof.
Got it.
And a number of contractors outside, but most of them were here where I'm located, Sun Valley, Idaho, which is.
Were you making the clothes here, or having them made? Yeah, that's what I figured out. So you're offshoring
in China,
that stuff, bringing it over. Okay, got it.
Yeah, but we were fulfilling here for some time, which was costly, and warehousing here, but we outsourced that as well.
Yeah, so 21 employees. I mean, that's a lot of people to carry, and you need a lot of revenue to support that, and infrastructure just to support the infrastructure. I mean, you get above 3 to 5 people, and things change real fast. With
I mean, we had someone just chief of staff, another person doing HR, the onboarding and offboarding, and all the drama that comes with all the employees, and I mean, it just was never ending. I mean, so
yes, we know, we've been there. But then you had sorry, Shannon.
No, you go, Dave.
Okay,
get the path. Go ahead.
Well, but then you, and this is what I reached out to you about, because you talked about this on Facebook a little bit. You were sort of forced to rethink things, because it turns out you were running a travel clothing company, and then we had a global pandemic. But that created that opportunity to rethink things, and I use the word opportunity, with air quotes. But that moment where you had to rethink things really gave you some perspective that I think is informing you today. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, completely. I mean, so through the course of the pandemic, and a couple years or a year prior to the pandemic, we tried to double down and get. We were at about 18 million in sales, and then I thought, okay, let's get to 50 million, and I handed the reins over to someone to do so, having just doubled the business with a formula that I thought would work, and sure enough. They managed to get from 18 to 17 million instead, and in doing so, lost $2 million in advertising, all in the course of probably 2 weeks over the holidays, for not ensuring that every dollar spent produced $1.25 or so of sales, and so we lost $2 million in real money, and we have no outside investors at the time. So when we lost $2 million, it was me and my wife that lost $2 million.
Right.
There was no one to look to. And so after having recovered from that in 2018 and becoming profitable, and thought we had a path of a smaller, tighter shop, and maybe 8-10 employees, and rethinking. At that point, it was survival. It wasn't grow for the sake of growth and IPO and whatnot. It was just
it is
survival.
Wonderful when something causes one's ego to get out of the way. And I say this personally, you think you're all that, you're growing a business, and then you hit a wall, and suddenly you realize, okay, the most important thing is to survive. That's it. And That's a
100%.
wonderful. It's freedom.
100%. It was
freedom.
survival.
Yeah.
You looked at everything. You looked at everything on a clean slate. You looked at, in fact, we moved to Shopify, your sponsor, from a
Yeah.
legacy platform that we were using previously called Miva Merchant. We looked at every decision we made over the prior 19 years and decided, was that a smart decision? And we also figured out where the break even point was, how much we needed to advertise, and all those things. And then the global pandemic came, and we're like, oh my God, I was seeing sales levels that were less than our first year in business for a single day.
Of course.
I mean, people, if you're not, listen, whether you're traveling or elsewhere, you're sitting in your basement. You don't need the pockets that Scotty Vest offers to put stuff in because you're not mobile.
To go from the basement upstairs and back down, it's probably not your priority to make sure you can do that with everything in one trip.
Yeah. So to cut to the chase, as a result of the pandemic, we lost all of our employees, not because we terminated any of them. We didn't. Just through attrition and people moving, and we're like, all right, well, what did they do? I'm like, well, not much, And after a while, we were down to one, and we're like, okay, it's a tight ship, and we had people doing customer service and overseas that were doing a really good job, and we had our fulfillment center and our factories, and we were still doing a legitimate business, but then this guy, quit, and we're like, holy crap, we're down to just the husband and wife team here. What are we going to do? And my wife said, we'll figure it out. So we figured it out, and as luck would have it, 2 years later, we have 0 employees, and we're doing really well. I mean, we're not focused on the top line. Our focus all along has been the bottom line. But I can't count figures, but
I'm sure
8
it's
figures.
a faster. Faster.
And we're not focused on the growth. We're focused on just profitability. We kind of took that mentality. Look around, go outside, go for a walk down the street, identify stores left and right and businesses left and right. And do you think that they need to get to $100 million to go on a really nice vacation and have a really nice life? I mean, you don't. And
we can all tell you the answer is no. Yes.
Yep.
No, you just build a profitable business. You want to call it a lifestyle business? Have at it. I live a pretty freaking good lifestyle. I have a Ferrari.
We say that all the time.
2 Porsches and a gorgeous penthouse, and I ski, and now I just my title now is I gallivant. I don't even really traditionally work anymore. I'm testing the travel clothing, because what I discovered is the more I work, the more I drive business to the top line, the more my wife has to work, and she can't work anymore. So I just stopped doing anything that causes more friction, and now I'm a professional gallivanter or a travel clothing tester.
I like that term. Yep. I stopped doing anything that causes more friction, and that's that getting out of the way kind of thing. Yeah, and I imagine that the business is simplified. That the money hits your pocket much sooner than it maybe ever has before, right?
And it's more predictable, yeah.
Yeah, I love it, man. Good for you.
I'm living my best charmed life, as you.
There you go.
Hey, there it is. That's well, and I here on this show, the term lifestyle business is absolutely not a derogatory term, and the people that are out there that say, "Oh, stupid lifestyle businesses," I just laugh at them because they don't get it. They don't get it. You shared the parable of the Mexican farmer or the Mexican fisherman, right?
Yeah, fisherman.
On Facebook. And it's true. If you pick what you want to do when you retire and figure out a way to do that while you're still earning money. And then if that's a bad word, or if that's a derogatory way to live your life, derogatory term, I want it. That's who I want to be. And that's who I am. We get to be those people. It's amazing. It's great. Yep.
Yeah, 100%. I wish I had known that going in, because I think that the perception of media, and you look at all the unicorns and the Facebooks and the Elon Musk, and you're like, oh, if it's possible, I want to get it. I can. but to what end? It's just a headache. And I learned early on I can't manage people. I just don't understand it. I don't want to figure out what 20 people need to tick. Some people need money, some people need affirmation, other people need to be making more than the other person. I don't know. I just
I, I have often said, Scott, that I am a terrible manager, but it turns out I'm a decent leader. But that means then I wind up having to manage people that I wind up leading, and so it has to be the right people, or I can't sit here and figure out what it takes to make somebody tick. I'm just not wired that way. I'm the same as you. There's people who are, and that's great. I love them for it. That ain't me.
Yeah, I remember taking an HR class at the Ohio State University where I went many years ago. I graduated in '87, and I sat down there and they were explaining all these, what motivates people. I'm like, wait a second. You give them a salary, you give them a task. When they finish that task, you give them another task, and maybe you give them 10 tasks. And in order to do that, well, I just don't understand it. I just, and I've learned. I understand it now. I understand it's so we did all these personality tests, and we use we had something called Skype Gate. We didn't know this at the time. Everyone, all the 20 people were all busy on their computers all day long and typing away. And one day I looked over one person's shoulder. They were Skyping each other as though it was a water cooler. The whole company, all 20 of them, were involved in discussions about when to get coffee. And when I saw them, they looked busy, and so we had to shut down Skype and take cell phones away. It was hilarious.
That's brutal.
That sucks though. Yeah, go ahead, Shannon.
I want to ask you a question about working with your wife, because I think that's I've worked with mine as well. And tell us about the system, because it can be a little sticky how it works, and you got your personal relationship and different. What system did you guys come up with that works for you?
Oh, we don't have enough time, but
in a nutshell.
Well, when we started working together, she made it clear to me that I was so difficult that there's no way she could work with me beyond what is necessary to get the company up and running, and then she was going to go off and do her own thing.
Okay.
My wife is a remarkable human being. There is no one like her. The reason that this business is successful is solely because of her. The reason why we have really effectively one employee doing as much business as we're doing is only because of her. She goes to the work at 11 o'clock every single day. 11 p.m. And she works straight through until 9, and then she'll go skiing for a few hours and work some more and work some more and work. She just loves working. Loves
Does she
solving
sleep?
puzzle.
Nice.
A few hours here and there,
Yeah,
and
okay.
and she just doesn't need it. I think it was an evolution to realize just how lucky I was to have someone so freaking dedicated. And any employee who did what she did would consider it abusive. I don't force her to do that. I can't force her to do anything. She's Mensa level smart. Her dream job that she described to me when we were first married, it was in a room by herself solving puzzles. She can't stand talking to people, so she does our newsletter. I mean, think of what's involved with running an entire apparel company.
Yeah, big deal.
From top to bottom, from all the promotions and the newsletters and everything else, and new products. And I just set up all the vendors and stuff. So yeah, it was an evolution, but it was firstly understanding a mutual respect and not treating her as a subordinate, treating her as a partner, and the best partner ever, one that will never leave. Unless I am abusive, which I'm not. So,
sure.
But, and you have shared interest. And when we came down to the pandemic and we started thinking we could go bankrupt, and you have that person that you look in the eye and said, no, we're not going back. We're going to suck it up. This is what we're going to do. And it can be really amazing if it works. It's uncommon though. And I wouldn't recommend it for most people.
My friend Shannon Jean likes to say that having the right spouse is a force multiplier, and you just epitomized that.
Exactly,
yes,
man. Exactly.
Yep.
I've had a similar experience, and
same.
For us, is division of duties, and I think you nailed it. Nobody's subordinate to each other. You're partners, and that mutual respect, the way you talk to each other, and everything. And if you do it right, man. it's exponential. That's great. So kudos to you for recognizing that and finding the right person.
Well, it wasn't easy, and early
Yeah.
on in our work relationship, I turned to her and I said, "Listen, honey, sweetie," which didn't go over well. I was like, just until I just need you here until we get up and running at this new,
Yeah.
in Sun Valley, and once we do, go off and do your charity things and eat your bonbons, and let me do the big boy business stuff. And she turns to me and she says, no way, I'm not going to relinquish that much power to you, because
Hmm.
if you are coming home working your ass off, and I'm just finished a sweaty tennis game with my girlfriends eating bonbons and talking about this, that, and the other thing, I she didn't say it in these words, but you have the power. You
Yeah.
and and
Interesting.
and I do not. I don't. I saw how your father treated your mother. I don't want to be a part of that template. And I'm an equal. And another thing she said to me that I didn't believe, a great story. We were sitting when we started doubling the business year over year. We went from 2 million to 4 million, 4 million to 8. And I said, honey, we got something here. We're getting to 50. And she says, no, we are only going to do that if we remain delivering excellent quality of customer service in everything we do. And I said, there is no way we're not going to make mistakes once we start scaling at that level. Get
Yeah.
used to it. It's just a fact of life. You cannot grow at this rate. And she said, I don't want to be a part of it. And I
Hmm.
bullied her into accepting my vision for what success was. And in doing so, we hit roadblocks and failures, and now we don't make any mistakes. Zero. We're at a zero. We do everything as perfectly as can be done, and if we can't do it perfectly, we just don't do it.
Wow.
I love that.
She was
Yeah.
right. That was our one fight in our entire marriage. Truly. I remember we were sitting when we had that discussion, and I remember the tone that I used to explain to her that she was
Yep.
so wrong. And it gets back to that smaller but profitable lifestyle business. And when you have all these vendors, all of which make more money based upon how much advertising you buy, or whatever. No one else's compensation is tied to profits except yours.
Hmm.
That
I love that.
none of
Yeah.
most of your employees aren't, most of your
Right.
vendors are not. Everyone makes money regardless, but you
Yeah.
only make money when you make money, and
And they
that's what you
make
need to
money
focus
by
on.
getting you to spend more money, right? So they're constantly motivated to get
That's
you
why we
grow.
lost $2 million
Yeah.
dollars in
Yeah.
advertising
Grow,
in
grow, grow.
2018.
And yeah, growth is incredibly expensive, man. That's for sure. And it's like, like for me, it's like it's also was kind of wrapped up in my ego in the sense of growth and growth. And I built this big company and this kind of thing. And it took probably a decade for me, my first business, to realize that bigger is not necessarily better. And I wasn't making any more money. We just had a bunch more people and a bunch more headaches, but our bottom line that came into my bank account was the same. So it's an evolution,
Yeah.
definitely.
Well, kudos to you for figuring it out and keeping the business alive and obviously very healthy throughout it. I mean, that not everyone is able to do that, and kudos to you and Laura for making that happen, Scott. That's awesome.
What's your favorite product that you guys are selling right now? What do you like?
Yeah, I love the Q-Zip
Yeah,
shirts. It's just a simple performance T-shirt with three pockets. Um, I I love our whole line. We have 80 some products now for men and
nice.
women, and they all fit a niche. The travel vest is the most popular, as you would expect. You put vest in your name, but I just would, anyone listening to my words, intellectual property is not nearly as important as you would think.
Hmm.
Competition is not nearly as important. Just focus on the fundamentals, do them really well. Focus on making money every single day, not waiting for Christmas or this, that, or the other thing. And don't look at, I was so fixated on the bonobos of the world who entered into this space and seemingly were making a tremendous amount of money. I think Andy Dunn sold more stock than he did pants. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that but he was successful in his own right, but he wasn't successful in the true sense of what I think is commerce. Making a product for a profit, selling it, to a customer who wants to come back and buy more, and not just for the sake of growth. So
Those
that's
are
my story.
sage words. That's great. We really appreciate you coming on talking to us. I always love the shows where my mouth is shut the most because I learn the most. So that's perfect for me, man.
Yeah.
It's good.
Scott,
fun, guys.
thank you.
Yeah, thank
This
you.
was amazing. Tell people where they can find you, my friend.
ScottEvest.com. That's SCOTTEVEST. Or you can't remember that, just search the word travel vest and we'll come up first. So
There you go.
That's awesome.
Thank you for this, Scott. So much fun, and I learned some things that I didn't know about you, and then there was all the advice that I really learned. Thanks so much, folks. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week. Keep living that charmed life, and we're out. It's that easy.
That friction comment is gonna sit with me. That's a t-shirt. That's a t-shirt comment right there, man.
Yeah.
here's my charm life, by the way.
Ah, love
Oh,
it,
hang
dude.
on. Let me make that bigger.
Nice.
There it is. That's the charmed life. Exactly.
That's
That's
exactly
the
right.
ski mountain.
Yep. That's the lifestyle. Yeah.
Our
Beautiful.
mess, but
Beautiful.
yeah, it doesn't get any better than that. So.
Yeah, man.
All right,
Congratulations.
guys. I'm happy. I love doing these things. I used to do them constantly. I mean, I built the business initially on a lot of PR. But that world has changed drastically. So
Sure. Now it's social, right? For sure.
Yeah.
Great to meet you, Scott. Thank you again.
Take
Thank
care.
you again for coming on.
Thanks.
All right, man.
Take care.
Thanks.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Take care. That's
Great
awesome,
stuff.
dude.
We're still live, as you know, Shannon.
Yeah. I get again anything that causes
I
more
knew
friction.
he was going to be good.
Yeah.
Years ago when I tried to get him on. But when he's been doing this 24 years.
Growing.
He was in growth mode.
Yeah.
And when I told him, I've got this show that's got, 500 listeners at the time or whatever, he's like,
exactly.
Dave, I can't spend my time doing that. Like, he was in that mindset. And I respect that.
Sure.
Of course, he respected that I was asking him anyway. Like, obviously, yeah.
What I think, it's almost like something that each of us has to go through that to learn that just that pedal to the metal grow. It sounds amazing, but I also, there's
And it
trade-offs.
can feel amazing in those moments.
It does. Yes.
Until
Yeah.
you step back and say, wait a minute, at what cost?
At what cost? Do I have time? Am I spending time with my family? Am I, am I really learning and growing, or is it like Scott said, it's that focus on the top line? I have that problem too. I think I always say my answer to most problems has always been more sales.
Yes.
And that works a lot of the time.
It's not a bad, I mean, of all the things you could choose to do to solve problems, it's not the worst thing at all.
For a simple man, which
it's one
is
of the
what
best.
I am.
Yep.
I know how to do it. So it's not complicated. But that bottom line where the money comes into your pocket as the business owner, as an entrepreneur, that I had to go through that a couple of times where I was like, man, how come we're not making any more money?
Yes.
We've got 10 extra employees. We've got a bigger building. We've got all this. We've got, X millions of inventory. But I didn't make any more money, and it's great. I could talk about it. And I love walking around and the business and everything was amazing. But that was a big shift for me. And I'm glad I learned it, early on. So.
And hopefully you don't have to learn it another time.
Oh, no way, dude. No, there's no way. I'm a solo. After selling my last company in 2017, man, I am a solopreneur. I've got great contractors working with me now and assistants and accountability partners, coaches, advisors.
Yeah.
It's a whole new ball game, and I love it. And so I love doing the show. 636 people on the live stream today. That's got to be a record, right?
It feels like it. Yeah.
That's wonderful. And we appreciate each and every one of you. If you listen to the show and you found something valuable, please help us out. This show is not free. It takes a lot of time. The cost of the show is to go leave us a review.
The cost of the show, I'm going to change the cost of this episode. Go visit our sponsor. Our deal with our sponsors is to encourage you to go and want to learn more. So you visit shopify.com/businessbrain, learn more. If it works for you, amazing. If it doesn't, also amazing. It's fine. Everybody knows there's no business for everyone, right? There's no product for everyone. In fact, if you show up and start pitching your product somewhere and you say, it's for everyone, they're going to walk away. Right. Yeah. So our deal with them is just to encourage you, to convince you to investigate it and figure out if it's for you. And if it is, great. If not, great.
Awesome.
But so please check it out.
I'm going to take a screenshot of 637.
All right.
Nice. That's great.
Sweet.
That's awesome. Great show. I'm going to end the live stream. Thank you, folks, for hanging out. We'll be back here next Tuesday. The episode we recorded earlier will come out tomorrow on Wednesday the 15th, and the interview with Scott will come out on Friday so what's that? That is the 17th. And we'll see you in your favorite podcast app. See ya.
Yeah. Later.